Hello and welcome to another segment of KONE Conversations, a podcast featuring one-on-one interviews with various employees and subject matter experts from KONE, a global leader in the elevator and escalator industry. I'm Kevin Metz. On a frequent basis, we get behind the scenes with key players and those in the field to deliver their unique insights and perspectives from KONE. On this episode, we're joined by Anthony Beckley, Senior Vice President of Finance for KONE Americas. Welcome, Anthony. Great to have you here.
Thank you.
Well, Anthony, like we do on all KONE Conversations to provide guests insight into daily operations at KONE, I wanted you to describe to the audience or tell us a little bit about your role at KONE.
As Senior Vice President of Finance, I have responsibilities over financial planning and analysis, financial reporting, corporate controllership, identification of risk, management of risk. I also have the KONE Way team, which is a change management organization that helps drive and deliver projects, transformation type projects for the business. And then the span of control is the Americas, which is U.S., Canada, and Mexico.
Well, that sounds like you're wearing a lot of different hats, more than I anticipated. It sounds like the role of finance has really changed over the last decade or so. How can you describe the industry or what's really taking place?
Yeah, that's right, Kevin. The role has changed. Back in the day, we were asked to be controllers and report the weather. The role was more rear view mirror facing. And now today, we're asked to be a better business partner, more forward analytics, help, the executive suite manage the portfolio in terms of where we should invest, where are we most profitable, life cycle management of projects, products. We're also asked to be better stewards and partners with the IT organization as well. There's a push for automation and the use of artificial intelligence. And so the role is, I'm excited about the evolution. I joined the finance ranks, from Deloitte and Touche, and, some 25 years ago. And it just looks totally different today about what we're asked to do and what skills we're asked to provide from a business partnering perspective.
Now, I know that you've mentioned a number of different things from hiring and change management, employee engagement. One of the main focuses of KONE is also, in addition to innovation, is diversity, equity, and inclusion. As a newcomer to KONE, how have you seen that also play a role in some of the investments and activity that you manage?
Yeah, well, first, let me pause there and explain. It was DE&I, KONE's efforts around DE&I that actually pushed me over the fence to come and join KONE. I was very impressive with KONE's global response to DE&I, whether it was its declaration to have 35% of its directors be women, or whether it was its acknowledgement that it isn't as inclusive as it strives to be. To come out and say that and mention it and pair it along with its sustainability journey, to me, that was very impressive to me. That was a company being transparent and admitting its shortcomings and then making a global and present and visible commitment to fix it. That said, since my time here, I've been, we've had the diversity week, and we've done awareness training, unconscious bias. And I just think there's a heartbeat that's real and present and refreshing around and conscientious around us being better stewards and better DE&I proponents. So I think KONE's on the right track there, and I'm proud to be a part of that movement.
Now, how do you see finance playing a role in that? Are there certain kind of investments that can be made or initiatives that are coming out of your purview that can continue to contribute to Kone's efforts?
Yeah, I think it's many ways we play a role. I touch sourcing a little bit. So, who we source with, who we partner with, making sure that there's inclusion in our supplier base. I can influence that. Finance influences that. How we hire, how we promote diversity across the Americas is also important to me. And my team knows how I feel about diversity. And the value proposition is that it I think with more diversity and inclusion comes and equity comes more innovation. So, but here's the thing: I think it needs to be grassroots too. In other words, we can't beat our drum top down and say this is what has to happen. We really have to uh, weave it into our culture and make it bottoms up too to help people understand that there's real value to DE and I. So I'm going about it from a finance perspective two ways: from the top, me with my tone, and also in practice, deep into my teams. So I think finance plays a role, whether it's influencing other functions or being good stewards on its own from a finance functional perspective.
That's great to hear. It sounds that not only in your area or department, but many departments at Kone are focused on this initiative, and a lot of things are already underway for 2022. Well, we do like to always share some personal anecdotes on KONE Conversations, and it being Black History Month, and that dovetailing in with DE and I, would love to ask you just your own perspective. Who would you consider one of your most admired pioneers, figures throughout history this Black History Month?
That's a great question, and naturally, my contemporary choice is Martin Luther King, but I'm going to reach a little deeper today, and I'm going to go back and select a pioneer that put King in place some 150 years earlier than his existence. So I'm going to go Frederick Douglass, and the reason I pick Frederick Douglass is I believe my life story kind of aligns with his. Although I wasn't born into slavery, that's a slight difference, right? Um, Being born into slavery, uneducated, and determined to educate himself and pick himself up. Uh, Amazing story. And being on the run for a couple of years because he had escaped with the help of a lady named Anna. Um, it's the parallels in my life to Frederick Douglass' life is I'm successful today, I'm blessed today, but I'm not here on my own. I've had help along the way. And Frederick Douglass had help. The lady that helped him escape slavery was who he would eventually take as his wife. And so I just think that what he did for black people and African Americans. He paved the way for the Emancipation Proclamation. He moved himself to Washington and worked with Lincoln to get that done, and he was just a pioneer for everything we as African Americans enjoy today. So I think of myself somewhat as a pioneer. Certainly not to the excellence of Frederick Douglass. I pale in comparison to him, but there is certainly some qualities I see in myself that liken myself that makes me like Frederick Douglass a lot.
Well, Anthony, you're doing some great things over there at Kone to continue to uh, push DE&I in addition to all of the many hats that you wear as SVP of Finance. Would love to leave listeners with some advice on any of those entering into your field or those looking to get into the financial aspects of an organization.
Yeah, a few points of advice. One, be curious. Curiosity is the perfect agitator for learning. So be naturally curious. And if you're not naturally curious, then focus on being curious. The second thing is diversify your experience. The sooner you get out and work in plants and work on the front lines with customers, the better business partner you'll be when you reach the executive suite and you're asked to solve problems and set strategy. So I like to tell all the people that I mentor who are coming into finance, take the assignments that no one else wants, because those are usually the gems where your span of control is widened and you are stretched the most and the quickest. So those are my words of advice for folks looking to enter the finance field.
Well, Anthony, those are great pieces of advice, and congratulations on your new position. And thank you again for joining us and sharing your insights on KONE.
Thank you, Kevin. Thanks for having me today.
Listeners, be sure to visit kone.us, Spotify, and our YouTube channel for an archived copy of today's episode, or for more information about some of the topics Anthony mentioned today. Check out our social media channels for information on upcoming guests of future podcasts. I'm Kevin Metz. Thanks for being here, and join us again for more KONE Conversations.
The information presented in this program is relevant and current as of the time of production. Copyright 2022, KONE Incorporated.